All right, Jacob, let's catch up. The Canary Islands, Jacob, we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks. Canary Islands, volcanoes, that's a formidable thing. I think I showed you the actual document of the government of the Canary Islands stating some of the problems that they've been having and what their possibility it could be of a mudslide. You have some these vents that have been opened up. The water's gotten into the volcano. It's not looking good for the Canary Islands. Plus the one in Japan.
Well, what you showed me, the one we read, said was written in Spanish, but that it's also spreading to the south. The volcanic ash and the columns are also spreading now to the south. That means going towards the Sahel, towards the Sahel. Now, the Sahel is a place prone to environmental disaster anyway. It's an area that's been, it undergoes desertification. It undergoes intense desertification. It was used to be cultivated. It used to be green, but now with the expansion of the Sahara moving south, it's turning to sand. Any major deposits of volcanic ash into the Sahel will have very interesting ramifications in terms of the agricultural production. You can have lava enriched soil, except there's no soil, there's sand. It's quite, well, it's turning to sand. So it'll be a factor environmentally in the Sahel, but it also shows something, that while climate change people are always yelling about climate change, usually with bad facts, with bad science, and with a lot of politically motivated hypocrisy, and proposing things that don't work and can't work. It shows that natural forces can do more than man can do with his even thermal pollutants. And I'm against thermal pollution, obviously, but far worse than man can do with greenhouse gases. The other factor that impresses me this week is that normally you have one major volcano at a time. Now we have two, one in the Far East in Japan and one off the coast of Morocco, but not far from Spain and Portugal. Two happening concurrently. This reminds me of what Jesus said concerning natural disasters, certainly seismic ones, that they will be in diverse places. They will be in diverse places. You know, it's not just you have Mount St. Helens and then you have Mount Vesuvius, or no, sorry, Mount Etna, and then you have Ruapehu in New Zealand. What happens when you have multiple occurrences of massive volcanoes simultaneously? I saw about 5 years ago what happened with massive ash deposits from a volcano in Iceland. And it grounded air flights in the British Isles and in Scandinavia. You know, that was just one in Iceland. What would happen if you have two or more occurring simultaneously? What would that do economically? What would that do to international air travel and other things? So it's not just the volcano, it's the synergistic impact of more than one of them happening at once. I don't know if there's any historical precedent in modern times for two major volcanoes to be concurrent
at the same time.
What is happening now?
I mean, La Palma, the Cumbre Vieja, which is the one in La Palma, if it goes, and obviously there's good evidence even by the government that it could go, it could explode, it could create massive mudslides. it could be as big as Krakatoa that down in the in Indonesia. So if you have another one
Yes.
like that, boy, that's a big problem.
But there's 4 vents, four
Yeah.
openings, not just one opening.
Yeah. Oh, 5 now. Sorry, 5.
Oh, 5.
They discovered one.
My,
Yeah, they discovered one today.
my apologies. There's now 5. I didn't know there was 5. And it's sucking in water.
Yeah.
So what happens if you take a raw light bulb and a wet sponge and you run the wet sponge on the light bulb? The water boils and you get an explosion.
Yeah.
Well, when you begin putting large volumes, millions of gallons of water into a volcano, the water boils almost immediately,
Yeah.
causing a steam expansion into columns. And these steam expansions mix with the volcanic ash.
Boy, you got a problem.
So, yeah, now you have a real problem.
Yeah.
Now you have a real problem. Now let's remember something. We're talking about islands off the coast of Morocco, where hurricanes begin in the Atlantic.
Yes.
They begin with sandstorms in North Africa,
Oh.
blowing off the Sahara, heading westward. They mix with certain ocean currents in the eastern Atlantic. And then they begin to continue in a northwesterly direction towards the Caribbean and towards the United States, particularly Florida, the Carolinas, Georgia, and so forth. That's how hurricanes come. Hurricanes can also ricochet. There was significant hurricane damage in Great Britain in 1990, in England, and it was a ricochet off the coast of the USA, where you have something like a volcano, like a tornado. You have an eye, there's actually an eye, and it spins, okay? If this was to happen concurrent, if it was to transpire concurrently with the sandstorms blowing into the eastern Atlantic, you'd have a perfect storm. Now, I'm not a geologist or a meteorologist, but now you have 3 factors. You have the volcano itself and the ash, then you have the steam, and then you have the sand. I have seen sand tornadoes. I remember standing on top of Masada in Israel once, and I saw 2 of them across the Dead Sea in Jordan.
Wow.
At the same time. And they're fierce-looking things, these sandstorms. But you can have a sand cyclone, sand tornado. I've seen 2 of them. Looked like they were dancing almost. It was incredible. These natural phenomena are no joke. But when they happen in a synergistic combination with each other, it looks apocalyptic, doesn't it? I'm not trying to be a scaremonger, but we definitely see a combination of things we don't normally see, and more than one happening at one time.
Yeah.
I watched a picture today or yesterday of an unbelievable chunk of a mountain, a huge boulder coming out of the volcano in Japan. I recall watching Mount Ruapeho blow up in New Zealand. I was quite close to where it was and where it was happening. These things are incredible. They're absolutely incredible. But the one that's happening in La Palma, in the Canary Islands, is frightening because of its size, because of having it's being fed by aquifers.
Yeah.
and five openings. And because it's heading to the south, it's heading towards the Western Sahara. These things, who knows?
Right.
Who knows? But all the ingredients are there.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't happen this time, it might happen the next time.
Yeah. No, you're right, Jacob.